Vampirella in hell? This twist changes everything. The desert wind screams like millions of tiny razor blades, swirling with a ferocity that would shame earthly storms. A lone figure stands defiant against the onslaught, feeling the angry sands cutting at her flesh and the muscle beneath. It is a wailing maelstrom of scouring death. Half buried in the sand, Vampirella claws her way through the storm, her face a grotesque mask of decay, her eyes burning with defiant intensity. The scene shifts to Sepulchre City, earlier, inside the menagerie bar, populated by a motley assortment of otherworldly patrons. A hulking, one-eyed werewolf sits across from Vampirella at the bar. The werewolf inquires about her need for blood, questioning if she needs it to survive. Vampirella, elegantly pouring a drink, responds that she needs it for sure, but she finds the apportioning of her sanguinary desires best for everybody. The werewolf lets out a rough laugh, joking that the Vampirella can't even hold her drink. Vampirella sips her drink, a thoughtful expression on her face, remarking that there's always been a darkness at her core that has been aroused by the taste of blood, and she finds the older she becomes, the harder it is to control. Periodic abstinence, she believes, works to everybody's advantage. The werewolf retorts that it works for him, he doesn't need her any nastier than she already is. Vampirella counters that she is a delight, and his life has been far more gratifying since she took up residence in the menagerie. The werewolf concedes that it's certainly been interesting, but can't believe she is living down there with all the people to protect them. The werewolf scoffs, calling Vampirella the menagerie's guardian angel, or more like a devil. An ominous figure in a green hoodie enters the bar. The werewolf observes that it's Louis, anticipating a nibble on the feelers they put out. Vampirella confronts Louis, stating that he has information about recent immigrants to Sepulchre who arrived and then vanished. Louis claims he doesn't sweet-talk. Vampirella knows why he is there. When she asks if he knows what happened to them, he says not that particular crop, but he did see a van heading north on Ackerman filled with what looked to be fresh meat. Vampirella notes that Ackerman is nothing but abandoned factories, a weird place to be dropping off newcomers to the city, and most definitely worth checking out. She pays Louis for the information, warning him not to spend it all in one place. Louis departs, stating that he will deposit the money in the bank just in case he decides to go to college, eliciting distrust from Vampirella. The werewolf comments on Louis's honest face. As they exit the bar, Vampirella observes that she thinks she needs to become more trusting. The werewolf warns her that trusting is something that can get her killed in the menagerie. With a sudden transformation, Vampirella sprouts her wings. The werewolf remarks on her transformation, saying that it must save her money on coats. Vampirella soars through the night sky, carrying the werewolf along with her. She observes that the situation is par for the course in Sepulchre City and triple that for the menagerie, but people are still wanting to come here for something better, which makes her wonder how bad it really must be out there in the world. The werewolf remarks that it's a world still healing from what Nyx had done to it, but it's just going to need some time. Arriving at their destination, the werewolf identifies the van Louis was talking about. Vampirella examines the inside, noting that it is empty. The werewolf sniffs the air, confirming that the van is empty but hasn't been empty long. Suddenly, a burst of energy rings out nearby, and Vampirella realizes it's Satyr and Circe. The werewolf states that he does not like the sound of that. The werewolf believes that there is something going on in the nearby building. Vampirella agrees to check it out. He will enter at ground level, and she will take to the sky. With a powerful crash, the werewolf smashes through the building's entrance, announcing their arrival. He demands to know what happened to a van full of immigrants. Inside the building, a man and a woman deny any knowledge of immigrants. The werewolf retorts that he thinks they might be lying. One of the figures wonders what gave them away, and his partner replies that the wolves are very perceptive. As the werewolf's form shifts, the building's inhabitants realize that their perception isn't as high as they thought. As Vampirella crashes through the glass ceiling, she senses the use of magic. Below, she observes a group of figures restrained inside a glowing circle. One of the hooded figures questions her. Vampirella recognizes this kind of magic from the past, as the magic envelopes her, tingling painfully on her skin and filling her nostrils with noxious smells. Vampirella questions, "What have we here?" The werewolf, now fully transformed, is attacked by the other lycanthropes. He declares that he thought they were stuck to the deserts, but they state that they are all about opportunity. Fighting, he tells the other lycanthropes to get off him. They respond by telling Larry to hurry it up and get this guy. They have more pickups and deliveries to make if they are going to meet their quota. The werewolf states that nothing is worse than ambitious coyotes crawling over a pile of their own to get what they want. Another lycanthrope observes that it has been a long time since they have been on top, and a few human sacrifices for a higher spot on the food chain is a situation to sign him up. The brutal struggle continues, with the werewolf being violently attacked by the pack. One taunts him that the last rung of the chain is where the carrion eaters belong. Struggling to get free, the werewolf is told that he is going nowhere. The pack members declare there are rules in the menagerie, and this is what happens when you break them. The fighting is halted when one of the werewolves looks around confused. In response to the activity downstairs, Vampirella swoops down, ready to see what is going on. Vampirella spots the denizen of the netherworld immediately, some sort of priest, she imagines. As Vampirella gets closer, he notices her and begins to send a wave of energy her way. The priest sends his magic wave towards Vampirella. In an instant, her werewolf ally bursts through a window behind the priest. He yells for her to watch out. Vampirella is slammed by the blast and is struggling. The priest's ritual has been completed, though almost prevented. Now he will prepare for the next. Back with the werewolf, he asks to himself, "Vampirella, where did she go?" The scene shifts to a desolate alien landscape. Vampirella, encased in a strange, viscous substance, crashes to the ground, realizing the impact of being transported to another world. The alien substance hardens around her. Nearby, a group of hooded figures stands near a strange structure. One of the figures, wearing a gas mask, commands a woman who stands in their way to move, threatening her with death if she remains where she stands. With a grunt, Vampirella breaks free from the hardened substance and is ordered to her feet. As she struggles to regain her balance, one of the hooded figures remarks that they'll soon get her jewelry on her so she can join her friends in the transport. In a burst of defiance, Vampirella demands that they take their hands off of her. The hooded figures comment that it looks like they've got themselves a hard ass, but they are not to be afraid to hurt her. She's an extra. Brain still addled from her journey, Vampirella responds in the most primitive way she can muster, the language of savagery. As she is fighting, the hooded figures realize the storm is coming. Get to the transport, they say, but what about the recruit? Leave her? She's more trouble than she's worth, they respond. Vampirella realized she's a long way from the Earth, she knows. But where? She has an inkling but hopes that she is wrong. The storm is unlike anything she had ever experienced before on Earth. The sands cut at her like millions of tiny razor blades, cutting away flesh and the muscle beneath. It is a maelstrom of scouring death. How does she get herself into these situations? Vampirella knew that she was no longer on Earth and had a strong suspicion as to where she had ended up, but hoped that she was wrong. She questions where? A nearby voice responds, "Welcome to hell, cursed ones.